All right, I got us recording now. Welcome, everybody. It's Christy Key Rollins here for the 21-day Money Power Shift celebration, whoop, whoop, and wrap-up call. So I wanted to, I don't know about y'all, but we've been through an amazing journey together. I've got some ladies here live on the line. I'll open up the line in a little bit so we can get some interaction going. But it's been an amazing journey. And when I closed it out yesterday with our final day, there was like a little emptiness that started to arise within me where I was just like, oh man, it feels weird to just stop. It just feels weird to stop. And while I did design this 21-day journey to be something that you can incorporate ongoing, and as many, I would say in the past, if this was a challenge, I would say the real challenge starts today. So the real power shift starts today when you're not getting those daily reminders, when it's up to you to keep incorporating and integrating and shifting your habits and way of being and relating to yourself when it comes to money. This is where the real journey begins. And I felt to best really honor that and to set you up for success with it and to just honor the time and focus that we have spent over these last 3 weeks. I mean, 3 weeks, that's a long time to stay connected and to stay with this focus at the forefront of your mind and the forefront of your path. Because as you notice, life didn't just pause for you to figure this out. Life kept lifing along. And for most of us, life got shook up and flipped around and things started to shake loose and some things fell away and some things came to the surface, and all of it's just part of the journey. But I really wanted to honor the time that everybody has put forth into this, the energy that you have used to focus on this, and to really just bring it to a beautiful closure so that we can honor all the aspects, see where we started, how far we've come, see how all these pieces really fit together, and to give you one nice little tasty video that you can come back and rewatch where you can have a recap and an overview of everything that we talked about throughout this journey. And while I know this information, since it is bite-sized and tangible, and it is something that we're all kind of craving right now, it's very tempting to dive in or even just dive into this recap video and think, oh, I'll just watch the video and I'll be good. When in truth, I really want this to be a tool that you can come back to for a total reset, but that you keep taking it one little bite at a time, one little piece at a time. And even thinking about hitting reset on reopening this program, it's like thinking that people can come into the group and have access to all the days at one time if they were really diligent in looking for them. It's like, what's that line between giving yourself that little morsel every day and doing that deep dive plunge? And while I'm a fan of deep dive plunges, we all know how I like to dive deep and really get myself saturated. It is also important that we take time away from the work so that we can integrate it. And as we step away from the work and we engage in our life, which is our true spiritual path, that's when we get the opportunity to integrate everything that we learn. And I remember I shared this just recently. So it may have been with this same audience, but I shared just recently, I went and saw one of my spiritual gurus and I got to see him live and in person. And of course, his words were brilliant, but he didn't blow me away while I was sitting in the seats. And I thought he was just gonna, oh my gosh, the rapture of being in the presence of Matt Kahn as he delivers his yummy, gooey goodness all over us. That didn't happen. I just sat there and I was like, yeah, that was good, but I kind of already know all that stuff, Matt, which of course we do. We all already know all this stuff. But it's when I stepped away. It's when I left the event. It's when we went for chocolate afterwards and when we stayed the night over and the next day traveling home. It's when I got back into my life and I could begin to reflect over the words that he said and begin to put on that lens that he offered for me to view the world through. That's where I started to get blown away. So I've learned the power of diving deep, getting fully saturated, but then also taking that pause, stepping away, and letting the work really be integrated. So please, this is my gift to you, this recap video. Please use it however you feel called to. And just remember to give yourself that space to integrate. And remember, there's a difference between trying to overhaul something like you're checking it off your to-do list versus it being something that you check off your daily to-do list. Have I loved myself today? Have I felt empowered around money today? Have I been relaxed regardless of what numbers are on my bank account today? That's a daily checklist that you need to keep doing just like you would with any relationship that you're cultivating. Like I realized this in my own personal relationship with my husband. I was treating my husband like I checked him off my to-do list. Get husband, check. Now he's over in the other room hanging out totally fine, and I'm lifing along without him. And then I realized I got to move him from my overall to-do list to my daily to-do list, because I got to keep going back and checking off that to-do every day. And it brought a different level of our relationship into my physical experience with him. And we can do the same thing with any aspect of ourselves. And if we even look at that example, it wasn't even so much me bringing something different to my relationship with him. It was me bringing something different to the relationship of the aspect of me that's in relation to him. And that's what this 21-day money power shift is all about, or any of the power shifts that you'll see me bringing, because I'm going to bring self-love power shift, self-value power shift, intuition power shift, an alchemical power shift, all these power shifts, so that you can shift the power from everything else in your life, controlling and having the power, and having the power to decide how you feel, how you're going to react, what you're going to do next, and shifting that power back over to where it belongs, which is within yourself, and being empowered no matter who or what you're relating to in your life. And with this 21-day money power shift, I started the journey by helping you, or inviting you, to really anchor into your belief and to your level of commitment. And I asked you to commit to recommitting. And I went ahead and told you up front, it's going to take a level of commitment like you've never brought before. And this is the part of the journey that nobody can do for you. My words can't make you anchor into your belief. It can help give you evidence as to why you might consider it, but I can't do that part for you. And the same thing with your commitment. If you look at this 21 days as something I'm going to start and finish, and that's what the accomplishment is, then you're kind of shortchanging yourself of the experience that you can have. Instead, I invite you to look at this as an opportunity to commit to your peace of mind, to your happiness, to your abundance. Commit to accessing and living the life that you know is possible for you, and that is actually calling you forward on this journey. And that doesn't mean I'm committed and bam, everything goes that way. It means I'm committed, and every time I find myself off course, looking at another direction, defaulting to old habits, falling into old patterns, I lovingly recommit. So if you're watching this recap and you're somebody who started this journey and maybe you fell off around day 4 or 5 or 6 and hop back on, and maybe you didn't hop back on, maybe this is the first thing you've plugged back into, I just want to commend you, because you've come back. And that is the most important part. You're recommitting. And when we can take that into all aspects of our lives and stop looking at it as I'm either going to commit and do it or commit and fail, and instead say I'm going to commit until it's time to recommit, and then I'm going to recommit, and then I'm going to recommit. It's through the recommitting that the transformation really happens. And for us, we're not looking for quick fixes and temporary relief. We're looking for lasting change and overall relief. And I've said it many times throughout this journey. You'll hear me say it many, many more times. The realization that something needs to change is instantaneous. The realization that there's something more feels great and expansive, but then begins the integration process, which is lengthy, it takes time, and it's not always feel good. So I let you know that up front by saying you're going to have to anchor into what you believe to be true, and really look at this as a 21-day experiment with your belief system, and stepping into trying on a different level of beliefs for yourself. And I did that with a daily what if and a daily as if. And my what if for day 1 is, what if all of life is conspiring in my favor, no matter what it looks like on the surface? And when you drop that lens in place, quite frankly, that's the only lens you need to have in place to journey forward and have a more rich, abundant experience of this life, of yourself, and also of money in this life. What if all of life is conspiring in my favor, no matter what it looks like on the surface? And I invited you to move forward and really ask yourself, what choices will I make as I move forward when I look at this as if this is a truth about my life? So knowing that all of life is conspiring to see me succeed, what is it that I'm going to choose from here? So you find yourself at that crossroads. You're not quite sure exactly which direction to go. One way feels very exciting, but nothing's guaranteed. The other way feels very scary, but it kind of looks like you're going to have some security underneath the ground. Which way do you go? Well, if you put on that lens of what if all of life is conspiring for me to succeed, which direction would you choose? And to challenge yourself to start making decisions based on that way of being. Day 2, we came to live your future reality now. And I introduced you to the thought process that what you want and what you desire, it can only be found right here in the now. And that the majority, hey Rachel, thanks for joining us, sweetie. The real magic of life, what you are seeking, what it is that you desire in life in order to have the experience that you want, it happens right here in the now. And to help you to realize that where most of your fears and reservations come around money, it's not what's happening right now as much as what is going to happen after this, or what happened before that we didn't like so much and we don't want to create again in our life. And when you realize that the majority of your fears don't even exist right here in the now, because I know some of you that are on the line are facing some serious financial struggles right now. I mean, these are real things. There's for real a piece of paper with your name on it saying that you owe something that you really don't have in your bank account right now. And that can feel very, very real. But what's scary about it is what's going to happen next, not what's happening right now. Because right now, you're not actually dealing with any of the consequences of it not working out because you haven't lived into that part yet. So if miracles happen in the now, if you're still in your head about what's going to happen next, or thinking about what you did in the past when you're in this situation, and you're focusing more of your energy on plan B than what is possible right here in the now, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on that opportunity to connect to your abundance. So the what if that I offered for day 2 is, what if all that I have to do is return to the now to connect to my abundance? And when you come back to now, yes, that bill might really be sitting on your desk. Yeah, somebody might really be waiting for you to pay it. Yeah, there might really be consequences down the road. But right here, right now, today, in this moment, are you without the things you're scared you're going to be without down the road? No, you still got them, baby. They're right here, right now. And do you see what is not right here, right now? That scary thing that you think might come up down the road. So when we can just take that deep breath, anchor into that day 1 what if all of life is conspiring for me to succeed, and what if all I have to do is return to now to connect to my abundance? Now you got more choices, you have more options, and that's the real point of this journey, is to give you more options. So whenever you're faced in these situations that feel so limiting, that you have more options than just A or B. You actually have a plethora of options, because anything can happen. And in day 2, I invited you to move forward with that thought. Every time that I return to now, I feel, I experience a little more richness in my life. And if you hadn't noticed by now, being on the end of this 21-day journey, it is not the number in the bank account that makes you feel rich or makes you feel abundant. It is your connection to your own power, your own self-worth, your own value, and to be connected to the abundance and the divinity that you are and that you're surrounded by in every single moment, in every single breath. It's all here. And it is not a number in a bank account that makes you feel rich. In fact, if you do feel rich because of a number in your bank account, you will always be susceptible to that number being in your bank account to feel your richness and your abundance. And that always gives that thing a power over you. And this is about being self-empowered. So when you bring it back to now, your connectedness is what makes you rich. It's what makes you abundant. And when you can stop, be still, and feel it, I know for myself, I get back connected to my abundance. I get back connected to what's possible. I get back connected to my beliefs. I can recommit to my journey, and then I can move forward as if. So day 3, the day 1 and 2, we're really laying down those pillars. You're going to have to anchor into your belief. You're going to have to commit to recommit, and you're going to have to stay here in the now. You get that foundation. Now we can start building everything else on top of it. And I invited you on day 3 to start building a relationship, build your relationship with money. And I invited you to take a look at money as if it was a person. and to start to personify money. What are the qualities that you value in your relationships, and what are the qualities that money personified brings to the table? And I also, as we look at it as a relationship, it's not just about you cultivating a loving relationship with money, it's understanding my what if for the day. What if money already loves me? And I gave you the opportunity to see how money has been your champion and your supporter all along. Money has paved the way to get to where you are. Money has paid for the clothes that are on your back, the food that's in your belly, the roof that's over your head. Money has made all of that possible. And regardless if it was you directly earning the money or not, that money came into your world to provide those things. And that is an amazing, loving servant of you. And when we step into, or when I step into that perspective, what if money already loves me? I can see how money supports me, how it's always trying to get to me, how it's always provided the way, how it's going to continue to provide the way. And it's not this love, hate, push, pull kind of thing. It's actually me that's bringing the love, hate, push, pull kind of thing. And when I think about how money already loves me, I feel that support, and it allows me to bring forth that desire to want to love money in return. And we already know, just to make it crystal clear, loving money is not something that makes you greedy and selfish. It is an understanding of a mutual respect, of an energetic exchange that is happening. You love the experience that it can bring to you. You love the way that it provides for you. And that's a very beautiful way of honoring yourself in your own human experience, and not a catalyst for falling off into the world of being selfish or greedy or any of those other misnomers and fears that we can have about strengthening our relationship with money. So I invite you to speak greatness into your relationship with money and bring it love, respect, gratitude, grace, and attention. And when you think about bringing these things to money, this thriving, amazing, supportive person in your life, boy, does it change everything. I know for me, it really changed my interactions. I realized how I was showing up pissed at money all the time. Why aren't you here yet? Where are you going? Why do you always leave as soon as you show up? And I only turned to money and gave money attention when I was looking to see how it wasn't enough or how it needed to be more. And I wasn't just keeping my door open saying, hey, this is a place you can come to be loved, respected, honored, and extended grace to. So please come in and make yourself at home, dear friend. Instead, I was like, hey, I need you. Come over right now. Hanging up the phone. And nobody likes to be that kind of friend. Like, we don't like to be on the receiving end of that kind of friendship. We're kind of like, yeah, screw you. I'm going home. I'm not going to stay around and just be demanded upon all the time. So we have to realize, not only is that the energy that we could possibly be bringing to our relationship with money, but also when we bring that experience to money, it's not just the experience that money's having of us. It's the experience that we have of us as we interact with money. And if you don't like how you feel when you interact with money, that's where the shift needs to happen. Is how are you experiencing you whenever money shows up? Not how can money show up differently so that you can have a different life experience. Subtle change, 2-degree shift makes all the difference. Day 4, this is where it really got heated up for some of you. Day 4, we talked about stop hiding from money. And I really love that it came to me that way to share, because most of us are like out there chasing money. It's like, I'm not hiding from money. Money's hiding from me. And when we really stop and take a step back and realize, wait a minute, I've always had more than I need. What if I've always had more than I need? Then we can see, oh yeah, I have been hiding from money. I haven't been wanting to open those statements. I haven't been wanting to look in my accounts. I have not been wanting to talk about money. Anytime that money comes up in the conversation, I want to duck out and hide. It's like the last subject that I want coming up anywhere that I go. Okay, hello, hiding from money. So if you can relate to that, I invited you again to bring in that what if. What if I always have more than I need? And where is it that I have been hiding from money? What comes up for me when I think about looking at money in the eye? And just this whole idea of really looking it in the eye, really seeing it. And again, we're not looking money in the eye. We're looking ourselves in the eye. Who am I whenever money comes into my thought field, whenever money comes into my physical presence, or more importantly, whenever it leaves my physical presence? Who am I? And looking ourselves in the eye. And my as if for that day was, when I pick my head up and look around, I find I have far more than I realized. And if we're hiding from money and we're not looking it in the eye, we're not going to see what we're really surrounded by. And this is also the part of the journey that I was thinking to myself, is this too simple? Because these are very, very simple concepts. But what I want to show you is a very powerful simplicity that lies behind the scenes that is just waiting for us to utilize and step into. And again, I promise to deliver you tangible bite-sized pieces that you can allow yourself to really savor and integrate and swallow down and become infused into who you are. And then at this point also, I started getting feedback from the group, and I heard people's worlds starting to shake up and minds starting to blow and hearts starting to open. So I knew that we were on the right track. I knew that we were on the right track. And I also knew that the first few concepts were starting to stir up a little bit more than I had originally anticipated. And I knew that day 5 was the perfect day to cue gratitude and to begin the journey of loving your bills, your debt, and your not enoughness. Ooh, even thinking about that, what better way to physically prove that I am not enough than to not ever have enough in my bank account? Pretty interesting. So day 5, cue gratitude, love your bills, and I invited you to move forward through the lens of, what if my balance due is the balance due to me? And I helped you to see how when you have a balance that's due, let's just take the number 40,000 so that we can make it big and something that is, worth looking at. So if you have a $40,000 debt, there's a couple things to notice about it. One, you don't have to pay it all back today. Very important. 2, the part that you do have to pay back today is a small part that you either have or can pretty easily get and have come your way. So when you realize that you're not paying this $40,000 every month, you're paying a fraction of it. And I started to look at it this way. What if I looked at it like that $40,000 that I owe is actually owed to me? So it's kind of like this big cloud of $40,000 that's hanging in my head, right? It says that I owe it, but I kind of look at it like a reserve of money that I am sending a little bit to, and 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 then bam, once all of that's whole and complete, guess who gets that money? Because I no longer owe 40,000, so I now have access to 40,000. What? It's like paying my future self. It's like I had $40,000 come to me, and it's in form of a line of credit. And now it just sits up there. I don't know why, but this is the way that I visualize it. It sits up there in the world because I don't see where it goes. I just put the check in the mail or I hit send on the internet. I don't know where it goes. It goes somewhere into the sky, right? So it's like I'm sending all of my $40,000 and it's all just accumulating up there until balance that is due is satisfied. And now guess what? I no longer owe $40,000, but more money is going to come to me. So that's all money that comes into my circulation. So it's like that money just drops down, bam, back into my reality. I don't know if everybody else can get that or not. For me, it was pretty powerful. So I just kind of look at it as payments that I'm paying myself to the future. It's all money. It's all mine. Because you can't be given $40,000 worth of debt without receiving $40,000 to repay it. It's the way that the world works. The world even brings you interest, right? So you actually get more than what you originally put out because you're going to need more in order to pay that back. And it's all going to happen. So you can't get $40,000 loan without being guaranteed $40,000 coming to the future. So instead of freaking out about it, it's just a statement, like a literal statement of what you got out there in the universe that's just floating around and waiting for you to receive. So you're just prepaying that money back to yourself. I don't know. In my mind, it works, and it just shifted everything. And now I look at the statement like, oh, wow, look, I got $1,700 more, and then $1,700 is going to be available to me. So what if my balance due is the balance due to me? And I invited you to move forward, celebrating all the financial choices that you have made, because each has allowed for you to have a massive receiving. I celebrate all the financial choices I have made, as each has allowed for massive receiving. Now let's think about that $40,000 again. What have you gotten for that $40,000? Well, let's see. It's paid my bills. It's paid my clothes. It's paid for my groceries. It's paid for my education. It's paid for my continuing education. It's paid for my kids' diapers. It's paid for my vacation. It's paid for me to go place. It's paid for me gas. You have gotten so much from it. Why are you hating it so much? It's just because whenever it shows up, you start to doubt yourself. And whenever you doubt yourself, you start this downward spiral. All it's doing is showing you how rich and how abundantly blessed you are. And it just came to you in the form that you were ready to receive. And as you continue to do this work, you'll be less and less aligned with receiving through credit and more aligned with receiving through just actual manifestation of money, because it will no longer have the same feeling, the same energy, the same weight to it. It will now be an extension of who you are, and it'll be like wiggling your little finger. Is a totally different experience than needing massive lines of credit. But just another way that life works to provide for us. And there's a lot of shaming that happens in our society around debt, a lot of disempowerment whenever we have debt. And I invited you with day 5 to cue the gratitude, free the shame, be very grateful, and celebrate all the past choices that you made. Because while you might be feeling the pressure of it now, that pressure is just liberating you and waking you up to the power that you have within you. Day 6, we shifted gears ever so slightly and tuned into our heart. And day 6 was listen to your heart. What if my abundance lies in the stillness where I hear my heart? And I guided you through a lovely mini little guided meditation to connect to your heart, your own internal self, and to bring forth the money healing protocol that you need. What are the words that are going to satisfy your soul? What are the words that your sweet self needs to hear in order to relax and feel more better, to feel more empowered and more relaxed and at ease whenever it comes to money? That's what day 6 was really centered around. And I invited you to move forward as if every time I even take a moment of stillness with my heart, I have a direct access to my abundance. Truer words have never been said. I'm honored to be the ones to have said them. The stillness that is required for you to connect to your own heart, baby, that's your root. That's your connection. That's your pathway. That's the way to go. That's where all abundance is accessed, through the stillness. And for a lot of us, we've done a lot of massive personal growth. Well, you know what? Our inner selves just hasn't caught up. All of physical life hasn't caught up with the evolved being that you have become. So now we must stop and be still while the rest of this integrates, filtrates our world, and the rest of our mind and our physical experience can catch up with our soul self. And we do that in the stillness. Very powerful, very subtle, very worthwhile practice. Day 7, I invited you to anchor and to align to your value. And I talked about how when you go after manifesting and creating money to be a symbol of your value and to prove your worth and your value, you are actually not aligned to your true value. You're saying, I don't have value and I can, or I guess let me say it this way. The only way I can prove my value and my worth and show it to other people and to myself is by accumulating this physical thing, this amass of money. But in truth, life is waiting for you to realize you already are the very thing that you seek, and that the value in the equation, again, is not the number in your bank account, it is you. And when you can anchor to your value and align your value to what it is that you're intending to do and want to bring money in for, then that 2-degree shift will go from, let me bring forth this money to prove my worth and value. Instead, you'll be saying, I am ready to bring forth a physical representation of the value I already know I have, I already feel in existence. And by bringing this forward, not only will it strengthen my own faith and be an example to others about what's possible, but it can also help to reinstill the faith of others. Now that is aligning to your value. And in that place, you can also be completely detached on if it shows up or not, because you don't need it as your evidence. You feel the evidence inside of you, and you want to show that physically to other people. So much more powerful. So what if? What if the more I connect to my value, the easier it is for money to find me? And I love that idea that money's out there looking for me. I like to look at it like this. Like there's this invisible bubble around us, and like money's always trying to get in, but it keeps hitting this bubble and keeps hitting this bubble. It's like, okay, can I get in over here? 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 Can I get in over here, here, here? It's always looking for its angle to be able to get back in. And it's always trying to find us. But when we align to our value, then money's like, ooh, perfect. Now I can slip in here and slip in here and slip in here. Every time I recognize and connect to my value, I increase my money magnetism. So it's all coming to me, it just helps me find me easier. Day 8, I invited you to align action with self-love. So what if every time I recommit to my peace and happiness, I become richer? And this was really setting you up for the more physical, tangible steps. I gave you some physical, tangible exercises, which I'll talk about momentarily. And I wanted you to take these on not as a means to an end, not a doing in order to get, but instead as very simply an act of self-love. And when you can move forward in a way that aligns with your self-love and allow your doing activities to not be something that you have to do, should do, gotta do, but instead to be in service to your internal self, to act out your internal desires, and to be an act of self-love. I mean, that's what I realized. It was through giving myself self-love, which I have an amazing course I would encourage anybody watching this to take if you haven't. My self-love power shift is what I'm renaming it, but my self-love course, it is practical, tangible ways to integrate daily active self-love. And I started this for myself in my own life, and I hit a point through the self-love work that I realized, like, screw everybody and everything else. My peace of mind, my happiness, my fulfillment, that's all I'm responsible for. I'm not responsible for anybody else's happiness. I'm not responsible for helping anybody else get their needs met, except for my daughter, because I brought her into this world. But I'm not responsible for making her happy. I am not. I'm responsible to my peace of mind, my happiness, and nobody's going to come along and be like, Chrissy, you look a little overwhelmed. Let me give you 30 seconds so that you can have a more peaceful day. Nobody's going to do that for me. Nobody's going to do it for you. If you got somebody like that, keep them around. But chances are it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to make sure that you have your peace of mind and happiness. Nobody's going to make sure everything lines up so that you can be at peace. That's your job. And it's not lining up things out here. It's lining things up inside of here, or maybe inside of here, right? What if every time I can recommit to my peace and happiness, I become richer? I can say without a doubt, I feel more rich and more abundant every time I recommit, because it solidifies, it anchors it. And the more that I solidify it, the more that I anchor it, the denser it gets in these unseen realms. That means the closer they are to uncovering and unfolding and becoming part of my reality, or how we would say it, the other way is that much closer to being made manifest or created in my physical reality. But not because it's a doing in order to get, but because it's your destiny. And the more you relax, the quicker it can come through. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So the as if that day was to move forward, as if the only thing for me to do is love myself through all of my doings and non-doings. Because this is where people start to drop off of the 21-day focus. If you hadn't yet, if you've made it through the first week, it's the second week that people start to fall off. So for everybody who's on the line that has made it all 21 days, or has stuck to it at whatever point of the journey that you are, kudos to you for sure. But when you can align your self-love with your actions and realize the only thing for you to actually do is to love yourself through no matter what you're doing or not doing, then whenever you do step away from this work or take a pause with it, you can love yourself through the process and not make yourself wrong or freak out like you failed or are screwing things up. Day 9, I talked about divine distractions, all those rascals and characters that pop up in our path as we are committed to living life differently, all the chaos that comes to surface, and all the distractions of life. Again, you made this commitment. Life didn't say, pause, Chrissy's working on her stuff. No, life said, oh yeah, work on that stuff and make dinner and take the kid here and do this and do that. And oh yeah, we're going to throw 15 other things that are going to give you an opportunity to love yourself through them. And we think that all this chaos and this distractions and these rascals that are like, yeah, right, that'll never happen. All these naysayers that are just, that they're here to screw up what we're doing or to make it more challenging. And I say they're here to liberate us. They're here, one, as a sign that everything is going according to divine order. Because if it's not going the way that you thought about it, that's a very good sign, because it never goes the way that you thought about it. So whenever it starts happening differently, it's a very good sign that all is falling according to divine order, right? Also, those rascals that pop up and say, yeah, I don't think so. That sounds like a bunch of BS and you owe all this money. And I don't know what that chick's talking about, that's money that's due to you. That ain't coming to you. That's money that you owe. You're going to forever be in debt and lonely and you're going to screw up your whole life. Okay, maybe those characters just show up in my life, but I'm guessing they show up in your life too. Now, those characters, we want to like take the whack-a-mole mallet and just bonk them on the head and keep on going. But we got to do that spiritually. We got to do it with love. We can't do it with an actual mallet because that is not the right direction. That's not which way we want to go with this. So we want to bring forth love. And we want to remember that they are just showing up to give us an opportunity to anchor into what we believe to be true, to commit and to move forward without the approval of other people. Because where you're going, baby, a lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions about it. And you got to be able to combat and deal with. And I don't mean like take down, unless we're talking about take them down with love. You got to be able to not lose sight of who you are and what you know to be true just because a heckler shows up, even if that heckler are some of the closest people that you never thought would be the ones heckling you. When you can look them in the eye and move forward regardless, you can look anybody in the eye and move forward regardless. So they are your training ground. They are your saints, your angels, your healers, your teachers, your saviors. Embrace them. Love those rascals. Love that divine chaos, and just trust that it is all unfolding perfectly. And that, again, the only thing for me to do is to love myself through all the doings. Well, it looks like I need to update day 9 on the handout. So I'm going to make a little note of that because I got the same as if on day 9, as if on the guide. So let me just say that you're going to move forward as if chaos is a sign of divine order. And no matter what life looks like, all of it is just giving you a chance to recommit, to refocus, to loosen up your need for approval and validation, to become your own validation, your own approval system, and to move forward with what you know to be true, regardless of what is happening. And the distractions are just an opportunity to recommit. That's it. It's just an opportunity to recommit. And we get so upset and frustrated. Oh, great. There goes that. I guess I'll just quit the whole thing. No, baby, you don't quit. You get back up. You get back into it. The distraction is there to say life's never going to stop. You're never going to be able to guess what's next. Even if you're this most super psychic person, you're only going to be super psychic for other people. You're never going to see what's going to come flying at you. So get used to it, because you don't know what's coming next, and you're never going to make enough right moves to get the right responses. So just relax, do you, life's going to life along, and just know you're fully equipped to handle all of it. So to follow the chaos and the distractions and all those characters that come across our path, I invited you on day 10 to redefine your world. This is where your true power lies. So that was my what if. What if my true power lies in defining my world? Not in making it go the way that I want it, not in lining everything up perfectly, not in being enough, saying enough, doing enough. Your true power lies not in creating outcomes, but defining what those outcomes mean. And if you hadn't noticed, take a look around. You are surrounded with outcomes. You're surrounded with feedback. You're surrounded by the world. And what that world is, what it means, what it represents, what it means about you is what you decide it means. And that's where your power lies. And I invited you to do some deep journaling on day 10 and to rewrite your money story. Take a look at everything that you have been holding in your conscious and subconscious field around your money beliefs, what's been handed to you. How are you defining your world and you in it, and how gave you the opportunity to just rewrite a new story, to write whatever story it is that you want, one that's aligned with the truth about who you are, where you're going, and just how this world works, and you're part of it. And I invited you to move forward with the thought that I can instantly transform everything that unfolds before me and redefine what it represents in my world. That's an absolute truth. I teach an amazing alchemy power shift. I'll call it that because I'm going to rename all these things to be power shifts. I teach this amazing course on activating your inner alchemy so that you can move forward through life and transform whatever comes into your path to be aligned with the truth about who you are, where you're going, and how this world works. You can change anything if you just redefine what it is and your relationship to it. So that's the lens that I invited you to take on for the day and to step forward in your knowingness and begin the practice of redefining your world. Okay, good stuff, y'all. And this is where we're hitting the halfway point because this is day 10. So day 11 talked about flexing your prosperity muscle and bringing in asking. Asking is such a powerful tool, and it's one that we shy away from a lot because in our society, it's seen as something that is weak. And in our primal survival self, it is a sign that we don't know. And when we don't know, we are at risk of no longer surviving. So whenever we're in a place where we have to ask, there is this illusion that we might not get, and that can be scary for us. And it can also set us up in a position where, again, our survival is threatened. What I offer to you is to flip that around and to see it as an empowering thing. And that whenever you ask, you are signaling to life that you are ready to receive, not only that you're ready to receive, but that you believe that there is something there for you to receive. So asking is one of the most powerful things that we can do. And I said, what if asking for what I want takes care of 80% of the receiving process? And you know what? I really wish that I had taught that as 90% because that really resonates as a stronger truth to me. It did right after I had done the 80 and whatever, we're going to say right now, it's 90% of the receiving process. I used to say that 10% is getting out of your own way, but I no longer say that. 80 or 90% is asking for what you want. 10% off of it is settling in to the truth of who you are and infusing all of you into the equation, and then the receiving takes care of itself. It's pretty powerful. Asking you can get. Just yesterday I posted in my Facebook group, hey guys, we got 299 members. I got a feeling today's going to be the day. And new members don't join my group every day. They have recently. I've had some promotional stuff kind of going out, so I think some people have been finding me a little bit easier, but I didn't know. And not even 5 minutes later, I get a friend request or a join request from somebody who I don't even know. I don't even know where she came from, but she showed up. And it's like, you ask, you get, you ask, you get, you ask, you get. Somewhere in our young life, I'm talking like 5 years or younger, we stopped asking because we were taught that the answer is going to be no. And we don't like how that feels. And I think that kids hear like 40,000 no's to like 5,000 yeses or something crazy like that. I don't know the numbers, but it's ridiculously slanted. And as a parent, I make a conscious effort to try to say, oh, that's a great idea. Maybe we can do that later instead of saying no, although I do find myself saying no quite a bit. But we've just heard no so often, and we don't want to hear no. Or, you know, we had loved ones that wanted to protect us, and we asked questions that made them uncomfortable. So they're like, no, be quiet, go away, stop asking me questions. And we've stopped asking for what we want. And the best way to flex that prosperity muscle is to get in the habit of asking and practice asking for everything. Now, like, I really challenge myself. If I see something that I see that I want, I ask if I can have it. And I would say probably 80% of the time I get it. I mean, it's crazy, but we don't ask because we don't want to look selfish, or we don't want to like take from somebody, or it's going to be rude, or we just think the answer is going to be no. And I realize I can't lose something that I don't have. So what am I going to lose if I ask? Maybe a little humility or dignity if I'm really attached to what people think about me. But if I can detach from that and really trust that if I have a desire, maybe the thing that I want, maybe it wants me too. And maybe through my asking, I actually can set forth into motion something that was meant to happen. Don't know, but I'm here to offer different perspectives, right? So what if asking for what I want takes care of 80% of the receiving process? And ladies, I just realized y'all were chatting in over here and I've missed what was being said. So I'm not quite sure. Erica says, OMG, I love that thought, but that was like 20 minutes ago, so I don't know what I said. And then Rachel said, before I had my own daughter, I did that for a friend of mine. That is, you eat. Oh, like taking care of everybody else? Yes, 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 yes. Cool. Well, if you think of what that thought was, Erica, you can chat that in. And hey, Galia, glad to see you here too, sweetie. We're just kind of cruising through a little recap. I am on day 10, I believe. Day 11, flex your prosperity and asking for what you want. I'll try to keep an eye on that chat a little bit better, ladies. See if I can make my screen a little bit smaller. Okay. So flexing your prosperity muscle, and then to move forward as if everything I want to receive is simply waiting for me to ask for it to enter my life. I mean, how powerful is that? Because you can even do that like in your own private space, maybe through journaling or just taking quiet time by yourself and getting in touch with what do I really want? What can I ask for in my life? And taking that inventory, or playing a game, just play a game with life. Anywhere that I see that there's something that I need, I'm just going to ask and I'm going to see what happens. I mean, what if it comes forward? I'm just going to see what happens. You don't have it, so what do you have to lose? You could just ask, see what happens. I turn my life into a giant experiment, because people ask me all the time, how did your mind work this way? How does your mind work this way? It's not because I woke up one day and bam, it just worked this way. I was introduced to the notion. I got really curious. What if I am the one that's hitting myself in the head with the hammer and pissed off because I think it's that person over there? And then I realized, oh, why am I doing this? Let me set this hammer down and stop doing this. And then it lets everybody else off the hook too. Erica says, my OMG was about the 40,000 in debt coming back as money to me. Yes, yes, yes. Think about it. Okay, if you had like a part ownership of a company and you got dividends from how well that company's doing, you get a statement of what those dividends are. I look at those monthly credit statements as dividends that are just set in a separate account, almost like a 401k or something. It's like I'm paying that into a reserve. And then eventually I'm going to have access to all of that, because the money that's coming in to go in that direction is still going to keep coming to me. I just get to keep it all instead of sending it over to those reserves. I love that thought. It was a big game changer for me. It definitely changed the way that I feel whenever I head to the mailbox. Instead of being like, oh, the mail. Instead, I'm like, ooh, wonder how much closer I am to receiving those dividends. I don't know. I just got to keep this thing on its toes, or else it gets too settled in and it takes over and it starts to head me down dark paths. So I got to keep this thing always hopping up here, or else it gets way too comfy. Okay, so after I did the prosperity training about asking for what you want, I intuitively had a feeling we needed to talk about asking a little bit more. So what do you get whenever you ask, is what I was thinking. Do you always get everything that you ask for? Because if I just said that what you're waiting for is asking, or what you're wanting is waiting to be asked into your life, does that mean everything that I ask for is going to come in? And what if I ask for the wrong thing? And how do I know exactly what I should ask for? And does that mean that I'm going to get all of it? And how fast does that happen, right? It starts all these questions. So for day 12, as you wish was the topic in the focus for the day. And I invited you to move forward as if, what if, right? What if what I want is waiting to be spoken into my life? And what if everything that I ask for, I'm going to get? And I shared with you that you're going to get what you ask for, but you're going to get the entire thing. That means if I want a thriving coaching business, I am also going to get the process of creating a thriving coaching business. And once that process gets started, we're like, this isn't what I wanted. This is a bunch of mucky stuff. It's like, no, baby. The mucky stuff's just coming up to clear the path so you can have what you want. But if you're not aware that all of life is conspiring in your favor, right? You see where we started with this stuff. And if you're not aware that all you got to do is come back to now to get attached to your abundance, if you're not aware that you are just getting the beginning steps of it, then you can mistake those beginning steps as more failure or more frustration or more stuff that's in your way. But in truth, you are getting exactly what you asked for. You're going to get exactly what you asked for, which that also should come with a warning and a disclaimer, because you're going to get what you asked for. One of the things that I asked for was to switch my practice from 80% massage, 20% coaching, to 80% coaching, 20% massage. Do you know what happened? All of my massage clients stopped coming. And I freaked out because I was so used to having massage clients coming. And then I realized I'm getting exactly what I wanted. How can I fit 80% coaching clients when I have a full 100% massage schedule? There's no space for them. So life created space, and I started to freak out because money started coming in different forms, looking different, coming different, flowing different. And when I realized, wait a second, massage is slowing down because coaching is ramping up, then everything started to shift for me. Then I could see what was happening. I was at the beginning of unfolding a thriving coaching practice, which was simultaneously meaning what I had before must be destroyed. So while I'm creating a thriving coaching practice, simultaneously a thriving massage practice is going to be disassembling. And if I'm only focused on what's going away and I'm not seeing what's coming in, then it's going to look like I'm losing, not like I'm gaining. It's going to trigger old stuff instead of opening myself up to new stuff. It just gets kind of mucky. So when you ask, you're going to get what you want. So be prepared. You're going to get the entire process of what you want. If you don't get what you want, you're going to be given the opportunity to clear out what's standing in your way. You're going to be given the opportunity to detach from having and to get more connected to your own value. Because the more that I step into a place of loosening my grip on what I want, to really just trusting that what is right for me and its right timing is going to come forward, the easier it is to align my ask with what I want, the easier it is for me to receive. And again, this is not a game of getting money. This is a game of learning how to receive. And while all the crappy stuff is coming forth, you can either be receiving crappy stuff, or while the crappy stuff is coming forward, you can be receiving love, compassion, guidance, mercy, grace, all that good stuff that you can be giving to yourself. So no matter what's happening out here, continue the receiving to yourself. So powerful. I believe it's really just the name of the game, but you got to kind of go through all this stuff to get to that point. So if you got anything around asking, definitely go back to day 12 as you wish. What if what I want is waiting to be spoken into my life, and to move forward as if everything I desire will be delivered through my asking? I mean, just stop and think for one split second. Everything in your life has come through other people in some form or fashion. You had to ask for it to come. So just move this up on your to-do list, I guess we would call it that. Day 13, I talked about opening pathways to receive. It is so easy for us to be like, okay, I want this now. How do I get it? What do I got to do to have it? Let me go get into action. Let me go do. And I talked about opening pathways to receive to give you an opportunity to get in touch with all the different ways you could receive. Now, this is a great, easy way to look at it. Being entrepreneurs, and most of us watching this are entrepreneurs. When you're an employee, you have an employee mindset. I do X amount of work for X amount of hours. I get X amount of dollars in return. When you believe that that's the only way that you can get money, that is going to be very limiting. You have one pathway of getting money. But even as an employee, you can begin to open other pathways. What are some things I can do in my time off? What are some insurance things that I can file and get reimbursed for? Where do I have some expenses that I can be reimbursed for? Where do I have some tax return money coming back? As an entrepreneur, you can blow that door wide open. And especially if you step into entrepreneurship and you think, oh, people will only pay me for this particular service or that particular service. Open yourself up to all the ways that you could make money. And what I love about doing this exercise, there's a couple of things. One, it gets me in touch with all the options that I have. There's a bazillion different ways that I can make money. And whenever I list out 20 different ways, from cleaning house to babysitting to dog walking, all the ways, things that I could do. I could really do these things and they would really pay me money. It just signals to life, I am willing to do whatever it takes. It doesn't mean that you have to do all those things. But whenever I list them out, I find that 80% of the actions that I do take give me a return. And that 20% of the actions that I write down and don't do anything actually end up paying me as well. So I believe just taking the time to acknowledge and recognize through writing out or just mentally recognizing them, all the pathways that it could come, I'm opening pathways to receive. And I just kind of look at it as I'm going to flip as many little windows open as possible. And that doesn't mean I pour all of my energy through those windows. It just means, hey, open that one, open that one, open that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And then I'm ready to receive, and they can come through any way. And it makes me feel abundant. It makes me feel a lot less limited. And it's fun to see which avenues money's actually going to come in. Because we don't know. We don't know how it's going to get there. We just know that it's trying to get there. So what if the more pathways I open, the easier it is for money to find me? That's what this is about. How can I just sit still and have money come to me? Opening pathway signals to life, I am ready to receive. And that was your as if for the day. To move forward as if opening pathway signals to life, I'm ready to receive. It really does. It does that within myself. So I know it's got to have an effect outwardly. Day 14 talked about how the action activates. What if action is what activates my vision to come to full fruition? So it's not just about listing out those different pathways. It's about actually taking action. But it's not action in order to get. It's about action and the energy behind it. So if you move forward knowing I opened up all these pathways, I've asked for what I want, money's on its way to me, now I'm just going to move forward. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do something. That energy that you have behind it is far more attractive, far more magnetizing, far more abundant, far more rich than I think this is the only way I can get money, and I think that this is the way that I can do it. So let me just look at this one thing and I'll do whatever I can to get it, and I hope this works. But I don't think it will. But it worked for somebody else, but it might not work for me. But what if it doesn't work for me? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I should just stop. Maybe I should go. Maybe I should stop. You see that energy? Not attractive, not fun. Money's like, what are we doing here? Yeah, gotta go to somebody who's a little bit more certain, right? So it's not the action that we take or the action that we don't take, it's the energy that's behind it. That's really what is attracting and bringing things towards you. So I invited you to move forward as if every action I take is moving my vision from the unseen realms closer to my physical reality. And you know what? Let's think about it this way. I don't know if I ever said this throughout the series, but that's why we do these recaps, so I can throw in all this extra stuff for you. Think about it this way. Your life is preset. You and your highest self got together with all the other rascals that you're going to interact with, all these other soul characters that you're going to interact with on this earthly realm. You got together, all had a meeting and said, this is how we're all going to come together. This is how we're going to help souls evolve. This is how we're all going to get to the end point together. And this is how we're going to screw with each other along the way, right? You got it all planned out. This is how it's all going to happen. Bam, you get dropped into this life. Now it looks as if you have to make that life happen. But in truth, all of that life is bubbling up to surface no matter what you do or what you don't do. So it's no longer up to you to make things happen. It is your job to relax and enjoy the journey. And the more you can relax, the more you can enjoy the journey, the more you can take the responsibility off of you for making things happen and can instead just sit back and enjoy the unfoldment. Then you start to tap into a completely different experience of life, completely different experience of yourself. And with day 15, we talked about clearing your path to receive. What if my discomfort is my intuition's reminder to reconnect to my divinity? So as I move forward through this unfoldment, whenever I feel uncomfortable, it's just a clue that I have gotten caught up in this earthly realm and I need to be reminded all is on its own timing. All is all unfolding exactly as planned and orchestrated. And it is not my place to make any of this happen. It is only my place to show up and to receive, right? And we can receive the life that's around us. We can receive from ourselves. We can take this receiving journey so deep. Y'all know me. I like to go deep. So we can take this receiving journey so deep. And I invite you that as you move forward, to move forward as if all that comfort, all that discomfort that comes up, anything that arises from within is my cue for the next place to send myself love. It's showing you where you're healing. It's showing you what you're shaking loose. It's showing you what you are clearing out the way. You're here. Your desire's here. The only reason you can't reach out and grab it is because there's stuff, invisible stuff in your path. You got to clear that out of the way. How do you know what needs to be cleared? You take a step, you feel something. If it doesn't resonate and align with love, it's on its way out. You take another step forward. You take another step forward. And this is just a long purging, healing, clearing process. And in truth, you're already whole. You're already healed. We're just allowing your mind and all of life to catch up with that. So just send love to the places that call out to you. That's really clearing your path to receive, and it allows you to receive, or else you're just going to be into resistance if it's not looking exactly how you want it to look like, which if you hadn't noticed by now, it very rarely looks how you thought it would. I mean, like, even if it's kind of close, it's never the exact picture. It's kind of funny that we're like, oh, I can't deal with this forever, and then all these horrible things are going to happen. They never happen. It's just not the way that it goes. Okay, day 16, I invited you to dissolve your illusions of fear. What if my desires are an invitation to free myself of my illusions of fear? And this definitely sparked a lot of chatter and conversation in the support group, which I love because I get it. These fears, they're real, they're valid, and at the same time, they're completely fabricated. And so it's a tricky process to try to understand how to really look at them, how to embrace them, how to overcome them. But I did invite you to move forward as if all fears are an illusion. And to prove this, all I have to do is walk up and touch it. And what do I mean by walk up and touch it? I mean, you got to be willing to face it. You got to be willing to make the move that might trigger whatever that thing is that you're really fearful of, because we think that we don't move because of that challenge, but really it's not the challenge, it's getting to the other side of the challenge and finding out in some form or fashion that we're not enough or having to face something. So for a long time, I knew that there was a conversation that needed to happen in my relationship with my husband. For like 2 years, I walked around with this conversation just tucked away in my back pocket, knowing it needed to happen, but being scared to have it, because I was scared once I started this conversation that my husband would be like, oh yeah, well, guess what? You're on your own, so you better figure this shit out and peace out. I'm out of here. Why? Because he's given me the evidence that he would do that? No, but just because of my own fears. So I had to ease into it. I had to open the door for conversations. I had to risk him saying that to find out he would never say that. And it was just the fears that I had built up in my mind, not anything that was true, not anything that was actual, but I could not learn that or know that until I was willing to face him doing the opposite. And it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always, I wasn't, I never, I never faced the fear without feeling the fear. So if you're waiting for it to not be scary and then you'll face the fears, you're going to be waiting for quite a while. Even facing the fear is scary itself, but then there's a moment of relief and alleviation. Because what's so beautiful is that even if you end up facing it, you're going to find out you're fully equipped to handle it. You're going to find out all that you're losing is something that needed to be cleared out the way as well. But chances are it's not going to go the way that you fear that it will go. So you just have to be willing to move forward anyway. I don't want to post stuff on Facebook because what if nobody opts in? Post it on Facebook anyway. Who cares if they opt in or not? Are you doing it to get an opt-in? Or are you doing it to be you fully expressed? This is where we need to look so that we can clear off and receive a little bit more clearly. If you're afraid it's never going to work, you're never going to know until you actually do it. Then at least you can face the fact, okay, this is not the option. Let's go a different path. Or wait a second, this did actually work. Okay, day 17, I invite you to start seeing beyond your physical reality. This goes hand in hand with facing the fears. Because if you're sitting around, you're like, I'm doing the do's, I'm laying down the mindset, where's my money, Chrissy? I feel ya. And it's because you can't see it yet because it's beyond your physical reality. Duh, Chrissy, if it was in my physical reality, I wouldn't be saying this right now. I feel ya. But this is where you have to start to use your psychic abilities. And I don't care who you are, you got psychic abilities. You can feel what's coming. You can feel what happens next. You can feel the power that the previous 16 days has laid down. I feel the power, and I'm just saying the words. I'm not even using them in my life. I mean, I am using them in my life, but you know what I'm saying right now. I'm just saying the words, and I feel the power of it. So actually moving forward with each of these places, each of these things in place, you know you're making some changes. You can feel the difference. And in day 17, I just invite you to say, what if my opinion is stopping me from seeing my abundance? What if my opinion, when I look around this world and I say nothing's changed, that's stopping me from seeing and recognizing everything that I feel has changed? And when you can anchor into that feeling and put more faith and belief in that feeling and more of your stock and decision making in that feeling instead of what you physically see around you, you're going to start to shift the tides and you're going to start to pull stuff quicker and quicker and quicker, or it's going to unfold faster and faster and faster. And if it doesn't, that's okay. That's perfect too. It just means that down the road, you're going to be helping someone through this same struggle. So it's just going to take you a little bit longer to learn different caveats and ways of looking at it so that you can help other people through it. It's nothing to freak out over, although that won't stop you from freaking out. It never stops me from freaking out. It's just what helps me to settle back in on the other side of freaking out is to remember all this stuff. So see beyond your physical reality. Put more faith in the unseen than in the seen, because now that you know that all this is happening behind the scenes, I don't know how you can deny it. I can't deny it, but I've also been living this for a number of years now. What if my pain is the only thing stopping me from seeing my abundance? And then move forward in the as if when I shift my opinions to align with my beliefs, I instantly gain access to my abundance. All you got to do is go back to day one. Take a look around your life and then put in the what if from day one. Look around at everything and then say to yourself, what if all of life is conspiring for me to succeed? So now, whenever I look around this room, how is everything here to help me succeed? I guarantee you, it will instantly shift how you see everything. And all you did was shift your opinion about what it looks like. Day 17, day 18, I talked about saturating yourself. Everybody says, Chrissy, my mind doesn't work that way. How does your mind work this way? I'm just not like you. My mind just doesn't work that way. Yeah, again, mine used to not work this way either until I took a deep dive into this stuff. When I realized it literally was that analogy of what if I am the one hitting myself in the head with a hammer? Then I can stop doing this, set down the hammer, and move forward. I got hungry for this information. Maybe because I'm supposed to be teaching it to all of you right now. Maybe you won't have that same kind of hunger for this information, but for me, that's what happened. So I saturated myself with this way of being, thinking, experiencing life. If I was listening to something, I was listening to this. If I was reading something, I was reading this. If I was watching something, I was watching something about this. I saturated myself. I created an entire business talking about it non-stop. That's a great way to get it through your thick skull. You have to saturate yourself. You've been thinking, breathing, living, experiencing life how you've been thinking, breathing, living, experiencing life for however many decades you've been lifing along. Now it is time to start to do things differently. And you can't just take everything that you were doing and then just shift it. You've got to saturate yourself. You got to ingrain it. You got to let it filtrate. You got to let it start at the top and soak its way through. And remember, as it's going down, all this other stuff is coming up because it's got to go somewhere. And then you just breathe and you relax. But I said, what if it is not as much what I focus on as what I do not focus on? Now, there's a spiritual myth out there that you have to hold a vision, keep looking at that vision, revisit that vision, look at that vision, don't look anywhere except for that vision, and then eventually that vision will become your reality. Yeah, yes and no. It's just not the full story. You don't even have to look at that vision. You don't even have to create that vision. You don't have to come up with a single vision in order to live into your destiny. But what that vision does is help to give you an anchor. It helps to be a reminder. It helps to give you somewhere to look so that you're not looking at the lack, at the not having, at your old beliefs of all that other stuff. So you have to saturate yourself, not because it's a have to in order to get, but because if you want to have a different experience, then give yourself a different freaking experience and surround yourself with this way of being. Let it saturate, let it infiltrate all the way through you, and move forward as if I do not have to avoid what I do not want, but instead I can use it as a reminder to shift my focus back to my faith. 2-degree shift in the whole vision, focus, don't focus thing, but a really super powerful one that led us into expanding this practice of receiving money into all areas of your life. And on day 19, I invited you to take on a living practice of receiving and to move forward. What if every time I allow myself to receive in any way, more money is sent my way? And to expand this beyond money and to really look at it as a living, breathing, receiving practice. And to move forward as if everything I allow myself to receive comes with a cash bonus later on down the road. That's the way I look at it. I give myself peace right now. Life gives me money down the road. I give myself fulfillment right now. Life gives me money down the road. I give myself detachment right now. Money shows up down the road. It's giving to myself now so that I can give to my future self later. And if I just receive from my current self now, that's beautiful too. Day 20, I want to wrap this up because goodness gracious, 21 days takes a long time. Y'all are awesome for sitting here. Day 20 was about riding the waves. You learn this stuff. It doesn't magically lift you out of this human experience, but you can learn to ride the waves? What if every ebb in my life is time for me to rest and ready myself for the next wave? It's exactly what's happening. You got the highs, you got the lows, you got the ebbs, you got the flows. And all along, you can either fight against the current or you can learn how to ride the waves and stop freaking out when life gives you a little lull. Embrace the rest that has come your way. Don't make yourself wrong for it, and just allow the lull in your life to be a sign that you're not doing something wrong, but instead see it as a gift of rest to ready yourself for what's coming next. Because, baby, the ride that you are getting ready to go on, the wave that is about to suck you up, believe me, if you are watching this, this wave is coming for you. It is coming. I am riding it. If I'm riding it, y'all are right behind me. It's just the way that things work in my life. I've just learned to accept this. There's a wave that's coming, and it's going to require energy that you can't cultivate by doing things the way that you've been doing them, because you've been letting your energy leak out in all these different ways, because you've been letting all these things have power. You need to harness that power in. It doesn't mean that you have to fight the current and swim with that power. It just means that the wave is coming. The wait is over, and it is time for you to align the power that you have within you to the motion of the ocean and allow that baby to just swoop you right on to the rest of your unfoldment. And on day 21, it's exactly what I talked about. What if my wait for abundance is over? This wave is coming. It is here now. You feel it pulling, you feel it affecting your life. It is readying you, it is harnessing you, it is getting you properly prepared to have the most incredible ride of your life. And if you're having struggles getting started with that swim and aligning yourself with that energy, that's beautiful. And believe me, you want the gift of that on this side of the equation, not the other side of the equation. Because you master it on this side of the equation, then once you catch that wave, it's just riding it. And whenever you do fall off, because you will, we're not meant to ride them forever. That wave's going to fizzle out. It's going to give you time to rest, lay on the beach, get some sun, soak in some warmth, collect some seashells, do a little fun swimming, right? Have a little relaxation time. And then guess what? You're going to feel the suck of the ocean start to come back out. Maybe that's why they say it sucks. I don't know. But you're going to feel the suck of the ocean come back, and it's going to start sucking you in, and you're going to be like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? And then you're going to ride that next wave. It's amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful cycle. And when we can stop looking at this as a one and done, check it off the to-do list, moving on thing, and can embrace it for like an ocean that always brings its ebbs and its flows, its highs and its lows, it's receding and it's rushing in, it's always going to do this, then you can move forward as if you are no longer waiting to receive your abundance, and that you are only from now on moving forward, no longer waiting at all. You are simply practicing mindfulness with yourself and thoughtfulness with other people. You bring that into your life, try to stop money from coming your way. It's impossible. And at least so far in my journey, it has proved impossible. I will keep playing with it and reporting into all of you, but I highly recommend you just try it out for yourself, and so you can develop your own truth and see that just think about it. Just think about it. If you had friends, if you had a friend who was always complaining and always worried that they didn't have enough and always having the scarce mentality and always talking about how they don't have enough, and then they say that they need something, and then you got somebody else. It's like, man, I've been hustling. I've been doing my due. I always got my stuff together, but I'm just a little bit short, and I've got some money coming in, and I know it's going to be here, and there's something big coming. Who do you want to give money to? Think about it. Just think about it. The one who's uncertain, scared, always scrambling, don't know which way is up, or the one who's like, I don't have it all figured out, but I know I've always been taken care of, and I will show up, I will do the due, and I will be back to you. Heck yeah. You'll be like, you know what? Just keep that 20. You can just have it. You can just have it. I'll just get your lunch today. Then you don't even have to worry about it. It is so different. But that other person is always need. I don't have. You're like, I don't really feel like having lunch today. I know I'm going to end up paying for yours anyway. You know what I mean? It's totally different. It's totally, totally different. And again, this is not about getting money. This is about learning how to receive, and receiving starts with your ability to give to yourself, which is why it comes back to those fundamental foundations of self-love, self-trust, and self-worth, which is why I have the master level series of all of those in the mastermind group. And I highly recommend, if you like this and you want to dive deeper, you want to keep integrating this, stick around the mastermind. go through those other courses. They will change your life. And I thank you so much for listening to me cover all of that. I really wanted to have one little synopsis video that people could watch, be it if it takes them 6 days to watch it. It's all here for you. And I would love to open up the line and just take any of your takeaways, any of your shares. I would love to hear how, just hearing all this again, how this journey has been for you. I just would love your feedback. I don't know if anybody wants to unmute themselves and step out. Might be the best way to do it versus me unmuting people.
I'm just going to speak up and say, definitely, like, feeling that I have felt that shift and that difference of not having that anxiousness when money comes up, when I'm thinking about it. Like, I am a lot more settled as far as, you know, when I encounter money or when it comes up in conversation. And and you know that, like, I was talking before about how I'd asked my husband, since he's really the income earner right now, for, you know, he covers pretty much everything, that I've had that feeling of it's like his money, not my money, not our money. And this has really helped me realize, like, not only did I knew that was ridiculous to feel that way, but this helped me know it and feel it better. And it definitely has opened it up to where, like, when you, that powerful day 4 of not stop hiding from money, you know, I'm like, well, the way our account's set up, I don't really see that account that we spend out of. I just spend out of it and make sure, okay, where are we at? We're good for this, and, you know, and then go with it. And I was like, seriously, like, okay, we got to have a conversation about this, like, because, you know, he has petty cash and I don't, you know, because I don't use it that way. And I was like, that's really not, like, it would be nice if I had, like, something that I can just put towards whatever I want, you know. And it's not like I can't, because many times he's like, oh, well, if it's you know, don't worry about it, like. But I was having a hard time doing that myself, and this has helped me, and that we had that conversation, and that now it's like, you know, suddenly, well, it's maybe the same money we had, but I feel more like, oh, I have more money coming to me now because of that, or I will have it coming to me because of that. So that's awesome. That's all.
That is super awesome, Rachel. And I love that you share that, because I know that you're not the only one who is manifesting and attracting and pulling in money into your life through another person. And when it comes through another person, it can feel like, well, that's not mine, it's theirs. They're the one that's doing it. They're the one that's doing the work. They're the one that's making it happen. But quite frankly, I think that that's super powerful, because it's something I haven't figured out how to do. my husband and I, we have over the last few months really come together more with our finances than we ever have in our 15 years of being together. And that's part of the abundance and the richness that I feel, is simply his support that I've allowed in. But I wasn't allowing it in when I was so focused on it has to be me that's doing all of it, and all the stories that I created around how he would react if I didn't do all of it. So for yourself, and for anybody who's watching this that is, like, really wanting to feel more empowered about receiving through another person, go back and do some serious work around connecting to your value, because you bring something to the table that is deserving of whatever income comes into your household. And it's so easy to kind of overlook it, like, because we don't go to a job and earn it and have that kind of exchange. Especially, I know, like, one of my best friends, she's a full-time stay-at-home mom. She does a part-time business at home, but she's full-time stay-at-home, and her husband's the bulk income earner. And she's like, I have a hard time feeling like it's mine, even though there's really high numbers in our bank accounts. It's like, you have to understand, you hold so much value. And that's really where you need to connect to, because you get connected to that value and be like, that's right, baby, you better send some more my way. Like, you could never make enough money through another person to equate your value. So keep it coming. You know, you're starting to kind of get there. Keep it coming is the way that I look at it now. But it really is connecting to the value. And even doing the work that I do, it's like understanding the content that I bring. It's super powerful. That's awesome. But really the value, it is me. It's not the content that I put out. It's my ability to share this content the way that I do. It's my approach in doing it. It's the space that I hold for people. That's the value of the equation. So now I can give out my work, my content for free and feel at peace and abundant and rich and actually receive more on the other side of it, because I'm not holding on to it thinking that that's my value. And at the same time, I'm showing up more fully connected to my value. And we can do that in our personal relationships in any way that we're receiving. So even if you're receiving some kind of assistance that's, from a family member, or any way that you receive that isn't income related, if you have something that's a free service that's coming into your life right now that you feel kind of odd or awkward about, just really get connected to your value and open yourself up to receiving. And remember, receiving always starts with you. So when you can receive your own value from you, then you can relax and receive more from these other sources. So I'm so glad that how you mentioned that you're not having the same kind of anxiousness whenever money comes up. I too have felt that shift in myself through doing this, which is why I made this course. But that feeling, oh my gosh, to be free of it, into like, it's when I get free of something that I realize how much it had a hold on me. I don't know if that happens to you guys or not, but I'm like, wow, now that I don't do that at all, I can see how I did that all the time. And I didn't really realize how much of an energy sucker and an energy drainer that it was, until it's gone. And now, like, I've gotten to a point, literally, whenever I write a dollar sign, in my mind, it looks the same as a heart to me, because it represents love. It represents self-love. It represents how I'm loved, how I'm taken care of, the amount of self-love that I'm giving myself. I see it as love. And that's a huge shift, and something that was not handed to me from my family and from my upbringing, but something that I've just incorporated on my own, given all of this way of thinking. But to feel like excited about money and not skirting money conversations. I still have areas that I'm leaning into it. I'm still a work in progress too. I still have some like, oh yeah, I still got to bring that up sometime. But I don't feel like I hide as much. And I do know that if it shows up in front of me, I can handle it. Even if it's, the lack of it showing up in front of me, I can handle it. You can look at me on paper right now financially, and that's fine. I feel totally secure because I know what is coming on the other side of it. You know what I mean? And that's different. When before it was like, well, I feel like this stuff's coming, but on paper it looks like this, and that's more logical and more people can point to that. It's like, no, look at that all you want. Feel free to judge me on that all you want. I know what's coming. And the more that I'm just connected to this unseen over here, it's cool. And it's really cool to sit in a place of not having a huge overflowing bank account and to feel rich, when all that I wanted was a huge overflowing bank account so that I could feel rich. It's like, now I realize, had it come the other way, that could have always gone away and I'd be back at square one. But now money can come and go, and I will always feel valuable, rich, abundant, blessed, all those things that we think money will bring into the equation. Glad you're here, Rachel. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other thoughts? I know we got Sarah and Erica still floating out there.
I was just going to say that I guess it's been about 2.5 years now, I have essentially been living freely, not having to pay rent or utilities or anything like that for where I usually sleep. And I always felt kind of like it's a take. What value am I bringing to this? And I've been able to kind of open up and really look at what does my actual physical presence of being in that home bring to the table. And there's a few. But also, not only has that allowed me to grow and break away from some other chains me back, through that safety and security of having that free housing, for lack of a better word, I am then able to give to someone who really is in need, and they're in need because they're not trying, simply because they're following their intuition, but for whatever reason right now they need this kind of hurdle to climb, for lack of a better word. So this whole challenge has just really helped me solidify that I have value in that relationship where I live for free, that then allows me to give value to someone who is in need because I have an extra $10 in my pocket or whatever, may be the case, that person needs at the time. And so it's now created, now I am now able to look at it as kind of this big circle of giving and receiving without having to say, oh, what am I giving to this? Okay, well, I get it now. I get now what I'm giving. And that person that I live with for free, essentially, has opened up his doors to this other person who is very much in need. And it's really kind of nice, especially since he's the kind of person that he's very conservative, let's just say that. So he kind of tunes us out when we talk about this stuff, which is fine. I mean, that's his prerogative. He's allowed to tune us out. But yet it's still this one big loving circle of giving and receiving. And I find much more peace internally in that. And there are some things that I still struggle with, is not wanting to upset the balance in that household by doing something that he would disapprove of. But at the same time, I'm grateful for where I'm at today. And I have to have that conversation about spending money on something that he's probably not going to be real for. But I now have the tools to look at it as a whole package of giving and receiving. Maybe it'll make that conversation a little bit easier.
I love that. I love that, Erica. I can absolutely guarantee you go into that conversation staying connected to the value that you now know you bring to the equation, and that will pave the way. It'll give you that foundation to stand on. And the fact that you took on this 21-day money power shift and through the process found the value that you were seeking, your value that you were seeking, that just, I'm beyond honored that is what you got from this, because that's like exactly what I wanted people to get from this, is to see you think that you have a problem with money, and really you have a problem seeing your own worth and receiving your own self-love and trusting yourself. And that's what it really comes down to. But we don't think in those terms. We don't think, well, if I just love myself more, if I just have more value, we think in those are the thoughts underneath those conscious thoughts that we're thinking. Which is why I felt called to do this money course. I was like, I want to do a money course, but I want to make it not about money, but it has to be about money, but I don't want it at all about money. So I'm glad that y'all could really feel the power shift that I was intending to bring through this work. And it is to get you shifted more connected to your value. It is to give you a richer, more abundant experience of yourself, no matter what your circumstances are, because you nail that, you just watch out. And what's so beautiful is that if you nail that, it doesn't even matter what changes. Maybe nothing changes, and you have the most rich, amazing, abundant experience. And when we can really see it as, this is the value that I bring to the equation, even with things that have shifted with my husband and I, it's stepped me up in the domestic goddess game, where he wants me to step forward more, where I'm more of a self-sufficient, I take care of me, you take care of you. Like, that's how I'm used to being, very wildly independent. So it's allowed me to give in ways that I previously wasn't giving. And through the process, that giving, I could never do it in order to get. I couldn't do it to make him happy. I couldn't do it because it's what you're supposed to do. It had to come from a place of me being ready to receive. And when I was ready to receive, I naturally showed up and started doing the actions that were more in alignment with what his preference was. And he naturally gave me more love. He interpreted it as, okay, we're working on a relationship, so you're making these choices and doing this because you know it's my preference. And I'm like, nope, not what's happening. Actually, I'm loving myself more. I'm feeling more connected to you. I'm allowing myself to receive you more. And through that connection, guess what? As a natural side effect, I'm in the mood to make dinner. I'm in the mood to take care of some stuff for you. I'm in the mood to, handle some stuff. And now we're seeing like some things that I am supposed to be doing as the household manager, but we're kind of stepping into it like, okay, this is my job. So it's almost like making something make more sense in his mind as far as money allocation. And it makes me feel like more aligned with, well, I can show up and do this as a service. It's another way I can serve my household, another way I can serve my husband, another way I can serve myself. Because in the end, I'm getting what I want. I'm not doing it to get, but in the end, I'm getting what I want. So it gets my ego on board whenever my ego is like, well, I really like to do things my way. Then it's like, well, yeah, I know you like to do things your way, but ultimately this is your way. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yes, I'll do that instead. So I love, love, love that you're taking that away and being connected to your value. It will guarantee you have a rich life moving forward, no matter what numbers in the bank account, for sure. I love that, Erica. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no pressure, Sarah's. I see Sarah and Sarah, but no pressure to either of you. Definitely not a requirement to have to say anything, but I just want to give you space in case you do.
Well, this has been the most amazing journey, and I'm hearing you guys talk about, with your husbands and your situations and sharing money and everything, and I'm like, wow, that's totally amazing, because my situation, I won't go into it too much, but my spouse who died last year, he was disabled and wasn't able to work, so it was only on me. I was just like, give, and all this stuff. So I was constantly giving and all this, and then finally, he passed, and it's interesting because there's the other side of the equation of being able to have another person to help you financially, but then you have all the other things that go along with that and finding balance and feeling your independence at the same time. But then the other side is, when it's just you, and then being able to be okay with that and be like, okay, I can do this. I can pick myself up. I can start over, I'm starting over. And so now I'm in this place after doing this 21-day challenge, or the money shift is that it's been challenging my prior beliefs. That's why I say challenge, which is really good because it's shaking things up. And I know that all the murky water is because it's all coming out, and it has to. And like you're saying, that's the only way. And so what's happening now is that I'm so into receiving that I have friends that are in my life that I don't want to be friends with anymore, because like I love them, but I've just realized that they're not giving to me. I want to receive from them. It's like I took a step back in our relationships, and I looked at them and I thought, you know what? I've always been giving to them, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't think I have to. So it's like, I'm not rude or anything, and I don't even know how to really approach it with them. I haven't gone there yet because I'm still trying to figure that communication part out. Maybe I don't really need to say anything. It's just, because they're always going to contact me because they need something. And maybe I have to realize my part in that is that, I've always given them something, so they rely on me in that way. So if I'm not showing up and being like available, oh, here, I'll save the day, or whatever. And so it's just my whole level of receivability. I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to receive. So, and I think, Chrissy, that's what you've been, teaching me with the card readings and the messages and all of your teachings and your wisdom and everything. It's like, yeah, this is the lifetime I get to receive. Yeah. Wow, that is so amazing. I don't have to give until like I'm all petered out and exhausted at the end of the day. I mean, I can just sit back and let everybody give to me for once.
Totally.
And it's so amazing. So I had a dream to have a tiny house, and I think seriously it's because of this mind shift that this is showing up. Like something happened with a friend of mine. I realized, okay, she's just wanting more from me, and she's not respecting my boundaries, and I don't think I want to be friends with her anymore, but I love her, and I was really firm with her about my boundaries, and that's that. And then the next day I realized I think I don't want to live here anymore. So all of a sudden I researched, and there's a tiny house. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but well, it's an Airstream trailer, and I'm going to downsize and minimize my life. And so now I'm in the process of going with my parents to see if they'll finance it for me, because I'm their caretaker, and out of the siblings, I'm going to take care of them. They're like in their 80s. So now I'm like, I'm not sure how to posture myself to ask for them, and maybe I should ask you that. What's the best way to ask for something that you know that is really meant for you?
Yeah. So I'm just jotting a couple notes.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I love how you said like you up-leveled your receivability. I think that that's so cool. Such a cool statement to say. You've up-leveled your receivability. And through that process, yes, you're going to start to really have a new set of eyes on what you are receiving or not through other people and from other people. And part of what these other characters, remember we talked about those divine distractions and those characters that come across the screen that are going to give you that opportunity to decide, do I keep giving out of balance, or do I take a stand for my receiving as well? And that's what it sounds like these particular characters are giving you an opportunity to do, is to use your own discernment on what level of giving you want to give. And this is something that I run into a lot, you know, being in the line of work that I have. I'm surrounded by you beautiful people who are still looking to be connected to all of your own power and looking for those answers. And I want to help you. I mean, like, I want to just scoop every single one of you up, put you in my pocket, bring you to my house, like take care of all of you. I just want to help all of you. I want to like put a USB port into my head, download what I got, put it into yours, download it, and just bam, be done with it. And I had to learn that there was more power in my seeing you as whole and complete and already equipped than there was in me knowing all the right answers to give you. And when I shifted that, it allowed me to take a stand for myself, where I could say, you know, quite frankly, the information, the answer to the question that you're asking, and I'm not saying this directly to you, Sarah, right now in your question, but I guess it probably applies to that too. The answer is already out there. I've already given you the answer. So the how is out there. And the only thing left to do is to hold the space in my level of belief that you have it, the ability to connect to it within yourself. So me continuing to answer questions, continuing to answer questions actually can be a huge disservice. And what can happen is that my ego can start to take over, to where I feel like I'm fixing you, rescuing you, what have you. And I actually have had this little conversation with my ego over the last couple of weeks. This is one of the things I've taken away from this 21-day journey. Because, you know, I showed up every day. I made those videos hot, fresh out of the oven every single morning and got all the content together. I did it very intuitively guided. It's the first time that I've created this complete of a course in this manner, and especially for this long of time. And quite frankly, it fed me so much more than it took anything from me. And I think it's because of how I embraced the process. But during it, I had to always kind of like, I guess in the end, I've really learned that there's a line between my giving of information and really allowing you to receive. And some of the receiving that needs to happen comes from your internal self. And the more that I give on the external, the further away you're getting from that. So I've had to learn how to take that step back. And I'm taking out of this 21 days that I am no longer going to teach people how to change themselves or how to fix themselves. I'm only going to teach people how to love themselves more. And I will teach you all the actions, all the tools, all the different ways that I've done this and incorporated it into my life. And in the end, you may find yourself a very changed person, because the changes take care of themselves naturally as you evolve. It's just the next stage of your evolution. So perhaps even taking that kind of mentality back into your life with your friends, where you see them always reaching out, them not seeing their own sufficiency, that maybe that's how you start to give to them. Instead of giving them the thing that they're asking for, you start to give them the belief that they're going to have the ability to get the answer somewhere else. You start to speak into them their ability to manifest and create what they want, and how you can no longer be in that way a cooperative component of their having. Because I've had people, people who I know don't have money, and they ask me, and I mean, I've always had more than what I need. I don't always feel that I do, but overflowing extra few $1,000s in the bank account, not always my life experience. at all. And I've had people who really have way less come to me and ask for money, and I've given a little bit of money, and then they've come back around and they've asked for money. And it's like, this is starting to feel off. This is just starting to feel off. So then I extended that person. I said, you know what I can give to you, it's not feeling right for me to give you money, but I can give to you is, why don't you plug into some of my work? Why don't you see some of this stuff? Because I'm noticing a cycle with you and I'd love to help you break it. And then guess what? I've not heard from that person since. So it was an opportunity for me to speak up for my value. It was an opportunity for me to allow them to receive on a whole nother level than just giving a handout. And what it did is that I stopped seeing her as somebody who didn't have the answers that needed something. And I saw her as somebody who's whole and complete and just needed somebody to help her break the cycle. And if she was really interested in breaking that cycle, I really am your woman. Like, I will give. But I can't do that part for you. And it's kind of like the cycles in my own life. I had to realize I had to stop being an active participant in it. So if I don't like what somebody keeps bringing, it's not for them to stop bringing it or for me to stop them from bringing it. It's for me to change my response whenever it comes up, which is why I think you make the commitment and you move forward, all shit starts coming up. It's giving you a chance not to relive the past, but to go through it again and love yourself through the process. Same kind of thing. So it's giving you a chance. Life's just looking for you to do something different. We by our human design, we love routine. We love ruts. We love repeatable process. We love to know what comes next. So it's easy for us to get stuck in these little cycles. But all that we got to do is make one choice different, and it will break us out of that cycle. And then you can set off a whole nother domino effect and, hit that next evolution. And I think that you should really, you have a really great opportunity to bring in a great level of gratitude for what these people have given you, because they're giving you this opportunity to see this right now and to take a stand for it and to help you clarify who it is that you really want to be investing your energy into. And also up-level your discernment for people who come seeking your energy, be it monetary energy or help in some form or fashion or just your time. And as far as moving forward with asking for what you want, I would, if it was me, I would spend some time getting rock solid in my own confidence of my deservingness of it. Like all the reasons why, yes, I will be a good steward of what's going to come this way. And then if somebody else has to be involved, I get rock solid connected to what's in it for them. Because everybody's tuned into the same radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? So they need to know what's in it for them. And if you start a conversation and say, you know what, I was thinking about how I am the one who is your caretaker. And when you are older on in life, I will be the one who's making these decisions. I feel that this situation would really support that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying make up some BS. I'm saying get real. But take some time to really get a solid foundation over, this is what's in it for you. And what's really cool is that it's perfectly matching up to where I am. And when we put those two things together, do you also see how this could be a real win-win? And not that it has to go my way, but I just would love to know your thoughts on it because it's feeling so right to me. Then it just it's disarming, quite frankly, is what it is. And it allows people to say, okay, she's thinking about me. This isn't a selfish decision. Maybe I should see things from her perspective versus this is my campaign for me to win.
It's so timely that you would say that. And I appreciate you saying, that you obviously the answers to the questions I'm seeking are within me. So I do appreciate you saying that because that's you're our coach, you can't just answer and give us everything. You're teaching us to be self-sufficient and interdependent and not dependent on something or somebody else. So, and that's really neat the way you just said that about how I might approach it, because that sounds like speaking into them. That's really fascinating that you're able to do that. And I think that seems like the Jedi mind trick kind of stuff that you were talking about. And it seems so simple. It's just, hey, what do you think? And this might work. And this is what I'm thinking and feeling. And, what is your idea? And it's just like, wow. Oh my gosh. I'm actually on the way to work. So if I have to mute myself out but I wanted to be in with you ladies this morning and pay attention. So, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, Sarah. And you've hit the nail on the head. Just sit with it and keep looking at it through that lens. And to me, the best qualities that we can bring to an equation is detachment and openness and confidence. Because when I looked my husband in the eye and I was like, well, I don't quite frankly care what it looks like on paper. I know where I'm going, and you can watch me go there at a distance or by my side. That was like a whole nother level of power. That was like, really, I was okay. And it's not like I was upset. It wasn't like I was angry. It's like, I'm going to love you the same. I'm going to keep doing this. This is where I'm going. Do you want to be a part of it, or do you want to watch me do it from a distance? And I'm okay either way, because this is where I'm going. So even bringing that kind of energy of, I have this vision and I'm not sure if you guys are the avenue for it, but I do know there's a way for it. But I thought I'd explore it with you first because it just seemed like the right natural step. Then it's like, okay, she's not coming to me where I have to be the one to make this happen. She's coming to me saying, I know this is going to happen. Are you the one to help me do it? Are you the one to help me do it? Are you the one to help me do it? That's it. It's a whole different ball game than thinking this is my only avenue, right? So maybe even taking some time to do the process of opening pathways. What are the other ways that this could come to you? And just really get yourself open to all the abundance that's out there before you step in. And all of it's the mindset to clear the way, to give us the courage to step forward. And then when we step forward, that's when everything goes into motion, be it going in the direction that we desire or to the next level of unfolding for our next evolution before we get to that point. So you've got this, girl. And what you want wants you. You know what I mean? It wants you. That tiny house or whatever that tiny house energetically represents is calling you home. So you just follow that beacon home. But we got to trust ourselves. We have to be connected to our self-worth, and we got to love ourselves, or else it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Bless you. Wonderful, wonderful day.
Oh, bless you. Bless you. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, ladies, I have held you captive for forever. Sarah A., again, no pressure, babe, but if you want to speak out, I just want to give you the chance before we wrap it up.
I'm going to try to be brief, but at the beginning of this money thing, I was in serious trouble. I mean, I would not be able to do my business. I would not be able to do school. I would not be able to feed my kids, basically. And I was blocking money, too. Somebody had tried to give me stuff, and it was getting blocked. Like everything we tried until I released, it happened. But then I also thought about all the ways I've been receiving otherwise too, like from some of the beautiful free coaching sessions and boot camps, etc., has really opened my eyes that there's more out there than just the actual money itself. Because if it wasn't for these things, I wouldn't be growing as a person. So it's definitely changed my mindset on a lot. And I think it's also changed my mindset on some people that were not necessarily trying to take like stuff physically, but draining me mentally. I was like, okay, I got to step back. I kind of like smoothed it over for the peace of the neighborhood, so there wasn't a big explosion in the neighborhood. But I just stepped back. I was like, okay, we're good. And because of this, I got my first client, paying client.
Yay!
Because of the abundance, I'm able to pay for your mastermind group and another group.
Yay!
So that's awesome. There's one more group I have a goal on, so I have a little bit to gain that goal. But I'm seeing things come out better. And it's also because I decided, okay, what ways can I budget better to make things I want to happen?
You got it.
Because I wasn't budgeting properly. I know it doesn't help that my ex wasn't paying his child support. So now I just try not to count his child support that I have to make up for it and get independent. I used to have no problem asking for money. Now I have a problem asking for it because I'm like too stubborn. So when I got to the halfway point of having money raised for me, I was like, okay, I need to take over and get the rest. I messaged somebody. They loaned me the rest of the money. And it was all paid off yesterday. So
what?
Yes.
That's fantastic, because I know what your situation was, and it was a big one. So
Yes.
Amazing.
I know. I was so excited, and I've really opened up to the receiving, because I think I did have all those limiting beliefs before. Once you're poor, you always stay poor. There's no way getting out of it. Right. If you don't have a regular job per se, there's no way to make money, et cetera, et cetera. But there are ways of doing things.
Yes.
And it's not only, providing value for myself, but it's also gaining value from others that you may not have seen yourself.
Yes.
So, and I'm only on day 15. And by the way, I did not get my email this morning for day 15.
You did not, because I was switching to a new email service. So
Okay.
I will send
I was
out.
just double checking, make sure there wasn't like a massive glitch.
Thank you. That was the glitch, is that my intention was to be switched over to the new service by the 1st. And that did not happen in my day yesterday. So I will set it up for my old system. It will go out right after this.
Okay, thank you.
You were so
The other thing I realized is, as I have been given great gifts, I was trying to please everybody. Like, I didn't want to let anybody down. So I was spending hours and hours doing things, and instead of the personal care. So I've really, I stepped back last night. Tonight, I've scheduled time off every night except for radio nights, because those are like time off for me. That's like my favorite thing to do. And I've learned that I have to say no. Sometimes it's okay to say no to a challenge when you have too much going on. Even though you want to participate and do better, you won't be able to, receive or give if you're empty. So
yes. Here's a little tip for you. If there is a sense of, oh, I might miss out if I don't, that's a clue that is your lack mentality stepping forward more so than your abundance. So if you're like, okay, I just committed to 5 things, and if I put one more thing on my plate, it's too much, but I feel like I got to make room for this thing because I might miss out. It's not going to come around again. Let it go. Or, consider it from that lens. And really, really, if the only reason you're going to say yes is because you're scared you're going to miss out on something, no. That's just saying, I'm not going to receive later on down the road. You will have whatever you need. And if it was supposed to happen, room would open up in your plate. But sometimes life says, well, what are you going to do, Sarah? Are you just going to pile it on top like you always do? It's going to give you that opportunity. This is free will, right? We get the power of choice. So it'll give you that opportunity just so for once you can say, actually, my plate is full. This challenge sounds amazing. Will you please let me know if you're going to have it again? Because I can really see how it could fit in my life. And just trust whatever you think that challenge was going to give you, you're going to get by saying no to it. Be it later on down the road or another avenue is going to bring it in. But if there's that sense of, sometimes it's hard to understand our intuition, but since you joined the mastermind, check out the intuition training. I did a master workshop series on it. Don't let it distract you right now if you got a lot on your plate, but just know it's sitting there waiting for you to access at any time. One of the beautiful benefits of the mastermind. But it'll help to better discern that internal voice and help you to kind of better understand which direction to go with it, because all of it's our intuition speaking to us, but sometimes our intuition gives us the opportunity to kind of do the opposite versus just going with it. So if there is that fear of loss, is a pretty good sign that there's some sort of egoic attachment, and it's not really, it's just an opportunity for you to say, let me see if this comes back around down the road. And sometimes, you might say no to something, and then 3 days later, the person can come back and say, oh my gosh, I just got an opening. Do you want it now? And maybe then you'll be in a better space. Just because you said no, life could clear out a little bit of way for it to be a yes down the road.
Well, for example, I think it was yesterday, one of the groups I'm in won like a free call with a tarot card reader. And I was like, oh, I really want to go. But I'm like, I scheduled time with my family. Yeah. And I'm not missing out on that time with my family because I've been putting them off too long.
Yes.
Then later on that night, I got a message on one of the other places I'm in that she does tarot card readings and stuff like that. And she's like, hey, you just won for answering a question, because it was about being gratitude. I didn't care if I won or not. I was just like, I like putting what I'm grateful for out there. So people realize that I am grateful for what's been given to me. Plus, I like getting it out on paper or the screen. And she offered me a 20-minute call. She's like, if you can wait to schedule it, I'll give you a 40-minute call. But otherwise I have an opening next Thursday, but you only get the 20 minutes because she needs time off. And I'm like, take your time off. I know what it's like not to be doing self-care. Yeah. And then next week, it's not on my next week's schedule, which is kind of busy. It'll be on another week. So that helps me out too.
Perfect.
So
exact perfect example of how it goes. You honor your priorities. What challenge is that? I think it's in the self-value. In the Self-Value Master Workshop series, I give you an opportunity to get in touch with your core values. When you get in touch with your core values, every decision, just hold it up to it. And every time that you say no to something or yes to something, only solely because it aligns with or doesn't align with your core value, bam, you make magic in your life. It really is a super powerful thing. I touch on it a little bit in the 21-day money power shift. You might not have gotten to that part yet. But definitely check out those other master series. They're really going to help you. And actually, I love the way that you set it up, Sarah. If you don't mind, I'll meet you back out. Thank you so much for sharing. One of the things that I wanted to mention with this recap is that what is lying underneath the foundation of seeing through this 21-day focus and really living into it is those pillars of self-love, self-trust, and self-worth. And in the mastermind, in the Consciouspreneur Mastermind, I have already, you can hop in, join today, access all of them. I don't know if I'm supposed to promote that or not, but you can. You can access all of them in the group instantly. And there's a full series on self-love. There's a full series on self-worth, your value, living your value out loud. There's a full series on unlocking and understanding your intuition, mastering manifestation, and activating your inner alchemy. And of course, this 21-day money power shift. And what those 5 courses do, and really the self-love, self-value, and intuition, which is where I really think the self-trust comes from, is understanding our intuition more, really following that inner guidance. Those courses are going to help you to solidify, anchor in, and ingrain everything that this 21-day money power shift has brought to the table, because it's going to take those concepts of self-love and it's going to pull it down deep. It's going to take that concept of value and anchor it in even deeper, because it's just going to expand it and expand it and expand it. So where I touch on self-love, I touch on self-worth, I touch on self-trust throughout this series, those are all very fundamental. But if you can solidify those pillars, those are the 3 pillars that allow you to take unstoppable inspired action in your business and in your life that just feels amazing and actually gets results. And it is the game changer. So if you're ever sitting in that limbo state, or you see what you could be doing, but you're not doing it, it all comes back to those 3 main pillars: self-love, self-trust, and self-worth. Somewhere there's a disconnect. As soon as you get the connection there, then bam, you're off and running again. And that's why I'm committed to not teaching people how to change themselves, but how to connect to your self-love, how to cultivate your self-trust, and how to become ridiculously connected to your self-value. Because when those 3 are in place, I mean, it's just an unfolding. And anything that pops up, you can just instantly see it. It's where you can really use those Jedi mind tricks, because whenever those rascals start rascaling around, or that chaos starts happening and those distractions come up, we got those foundations. And it's like an invisible foundation that you can stand on to be unshakable. And even when you get shook, because life's still going to shake you, you're always going to be able to find your footing, and you don't have to do that massive backslide. And for me, it was just a total game changer. So if you love this 21-day journey, if you love everything you've heard about this, if you want to keep this conversation going, stay in the mastermind, be an active part of that community. You can do it for a few months. You can do it for an entire year. You can prepay for a year and save a couple months membership fee. But this is what I'm going to be bringing in the group. I created that group so that I had a funnel to just pour everything. All my content is getting dumped in this group. And the more that I cultivate this environment, the more that I see this is the direction that I'm going to be going. And I'm going to hit a point. Actually, I've already hit a point. I've decided that if you want one-on-one work with me and you don't want to do an in-depth 3-month package with me, the only way you're ever going to get a one-off session with me is if you are already in this mastermind, because my one-on-one work is meant for people that already has some foundation laid there. So you've got the foundation there to incorporate for yourself. You've got me every month guiding you through the process. What we're going to do, I think, for the rest of the year, we're going to do the we're going to do this 21-day money power shift again in July. So I hope everybody's excited to that. Invite all your friends, get everybody plugged into it. I would love to just blow that group up for July. I would love it on a number of levels, but I would love to see that community just really happen. We're going to do the 21-day money power shift. And unless I get guided otherwise, then what I believe I'm going to do for August, September, and through the rest of the year is that I'm going to, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I guess this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reteach all those workshops. I'm going to reteach the self-love. I'm going to reteach the intuition. I'm going to reteach the manifesting, and I'm going to teach it from to the woman that I am today versus as I was learning those concepts and bringing those things to light over the last few years. So they're going to be super powerful, totally potent, completely up leveled, and just dripping with truth and awesomeness. And I would love for you to participate in it. And if you check it out, it's not for you, just let me know. That's fine. But anybody is welcome to join it. It's a great way to plug into a phenomenal level of support, because you get all these master workshop series that I talk about. You get to participate in the monthly group session, which this month I think I'm throwing in like 3 or 4 extra ones because I had them all kind of hit all at the same time. But once a month we do a group session, so you can have every single month either a distant healing session, a limited belief clearing session, or authentic alignment session. So every month you've got this reset point that you can bring your now today where you're at and peel back that next layer and evolve to that next level, and have the supportive environment that you can continue to plug into, that everybody in that group knows you're whole, complete, amazing, and they're going to hold you up to that in a very powerful way. So you get those master workshop series, you get the monthly sessions, plus the members in this group. And I can only say this right now for 2017, because I got a feeling that 2018, that group's going to get way bigger. So it's going to change slightly. But for right now, I do monthly deep dive training videos. I'm going to keep the deep dive training videos. Those are still going to be there. But right now, I'm able to address like every single question that people post in the group and incorporate them in these amazing training videos that you get an in-depth answer instead of just a quick reply on Facebook or, point back to a direction that you just came from. It's how do I take this concept that I'm dealing with right now today and incorporate it with where I'm at? So you've got the workshop series, you got the monthly healing sessions, you've got the deep dive training series, you've got the private community where you can just practice being vulnerable, leaning into all these concepts, bring your struggles, bring your victories, bring all that stuff to the group. And as a member, you get the option to work with me one-on-one at a discounted price, and actually access to everything that I offer at a discounted price. But being a part of that inner circle of this mastermind is going to give you that direct one-on-one access. And I'm going to be kind of slowly phasing out of my over involvement in the Consciouspreneur Club and really amping it up over in the mastermind. I'll still be dropping stuff in the Consciouspreneur Club. Don't you worry about that. It's still going to be an awesome rocking group, but I can already feel my energy really pulling to those who are like, hey, I'm in this, I'm committed, and let's do this together. So right now you can join the mastermind for just $44 a month. If you are watching this and I've already told you that you can join for $33 a month, you're welcome to join for $33 a month. And if you lock into the second round of beta testing, then you're locked in that $33 a month if you want to carry that forward, or find a partner and do it for $44 a month, and then you're both are paying $22. I try to keep it simple. I try to make it a no-brainer. I'm always going to over-deliver far more than what you invest in it. I'm going to show up regardless. So I'd love for you to show up with me. I'm so glad that this was helpful for you. I'm so grateful for all of you ladies on the line. I'm so glad that you found value in this 21-day journey. And I'm so excited that y'all are sticking around to continue the journey with me. I know that Sarah and Erica both have committed to moving forward in the mastermind. So woohoo! I'm so excited that you ladies are going to be there. And hopefully some other ladies will decide to stick around with us too moving forward, because I would love to just continue celebrating this with you, helping you to integrate it, helping you to see the light that I see you to be, and just bring out the gifts that you are meant to bring into this world as you settle into the sweet spot of what it is to be you, which is beautiful and brilliant and very, very much needed in this world. So I thank you for all of your time today. I love y'all so much. Erica already had to run. She said, I have to run now. Thank you so much. And I just love all of you. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching all of this. Join the mastermind. Check it out. I would love to have you be in it. And I look forward to kicking off another round of beta testing before we take this baby to the masses. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful weekend. Happy 4th of July. We'll do a limited belief money block clearing session next week. So hop onto that too. Okay. Bye.